What's up, man? What's up, man? What's going on, man? What's up with you?
I like the background, man. You got double Streeter right there. Look at that. You got 2 times the Streeter.
I look jazzy. I look a little jazzier back there, though, dog. I look a little jazzier back there.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're looking good always on the video one, because if there's some disparity, people are gonna start talking. So you got to make sure you're always looking sharp. But you're looking good, man. You're out there sweating yesterday.
It was hot, wasn't it? Woo. Wasn't it hot, bro? Jesus Christ, man! I might have to jump out there again today too, man. At another one, but yeah, it was hot out there yesterday, man. But I'm listening to y'all talking here, bro, man. It sounds like a funeral, man. You got some intel out there, man. Was it that bad?
Hey, listen. So, by the way, people in the chat, it's the Streeter, Footballville. You can plug all your stuff if they're not following already. I bet most of them already are. But you know who it is. Yeah, man. Right after we talked, I saw you. You were going to get lunch. I was coming in. I ended up not really staying that long because it was lightning and all that. I don't know if you came back to it, but I talked to people afterwards, and the news wasn't so good. As you saw on Cooper and Blake Stewart and some other guys. Were you able to get back out there when after the delay?
I sat in the parking lot for a while, man. Then I went home, man. I went home, kissed my girlfriend, man, and then I got a text. Hey, Edison's about to play Chaminade, bro. They about to start back up it was about 4 something. Said, man, I jumped back on the highway, man. Got the fever and went back out there again, bro.
Well, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. How'd it look?
They went Edison and Chaminade went toe-to-toe. Went up going into overtime. Edison was up 13-0 and ended up losing to Chaminade, the Giants. I mean, they're the dragon in it. You got to try to play the dragon. They're the big dogs. They came back and beat them. I mean, they know how to win. Derek Cooper's out there playing with his shirt off, man, and looking like look like our high school running backs look. he make our high school running backs look like they missed a few weight room sessions of shit, man.
Yeah, he's an impressive dude, man. I don't know if 7-on-7 is really even his thing, because he's not like the most like pass catching kind of dude, but you could just see he's an athlete and he's so fast at his size.
Yeah, just to watch him play, man. I'm gonna put a video together. I got a lot of video on him and Dobson, the 27 kid. I put a video together for our villains and put it in the membership that we have. We'll talk about that at the end. They play him on both sides, bro. And he plays running back, he plays linebacker. And for people who don't understand 7-on-7, sometimes in 7-on-7, when teams want to win, they take the linebackers away. And they're just out there DB strong. Because they're trying to cover all wide receivers, right? You know what I'm saying? For the most part. I mean, they leave him in there, bro. He out there running around with the wide receivers.
He's faster than him. I mean, what's he running? 4.4 laser at the Under Armour? It's crazy.
Yeah. He's a unit. But listen, bro, hold on, bro. Let's talk, man. Let me close this. Let the men have a conversation.
Let's talk.
Let the men have a conversation. All right. So last night, I'm getting this feeling, right? I'm getting this feeling that Derek Cooper, Texas. Me and you have a conversation. We know it's always a fight to the end, right? So I get him a membership last night. They're like, "Come on, Street, you putting these videos in here? You know he going to Texas, man." And I got to thinking, bro. How many people you got in the chat here?
Right now, between Twitter and YouTube, we got about 1,200 right now.
Okay. The last time the Miami Heat played the Timberwolves, somebody go figure out that date. That night, I had an extra front row ticket, right? I decided to take Derek Cooper with me. I had a front row ticket. Somebody else was supposed to go. I was like, man, let me make one of these kids night. You know what I'm saying? Let them go sit in the front row. You know what I'm saying? At the Miami
as a
Heat.
Member of the media, a member of Footballville, not as any Cane affiliated person. Continue.
Let's just go take one of these kids, man. These kids, because people got to understand, I built Caneville, Footballville, right? Have over close to 1 million followers, right? When it comes to Caneville and Footballville. But my media company was built from the community. Like it was built from me being in the community, knowing the kids, knowing the parents. So it's kind of a different relationship that I have with them that a lot of the media has with them, right? So I can call him mom and be like, hey, man, let's get Derek and take him to the game. Or, you know what I'm saying? Listen now, Canes fans. If this don't piss you off, I don't know. That night, the Timberwolves played the Heat. I don't know. It was maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Texas had no skin in the game with Derek Cooper. None. No skin in the game with Derek Cooper. Hey, Derek, man, we just talking. Who looking at you, man? Texas been trying to get me out, come out there. Texas been trying to get him to come out there. It's 2-3 months ago. And then I may be off. Whatever the night the Timberwolves played the Heat, right? Whatever night Timberwolves played the Heat, right? It's a couple months ago. Texas was trying to get him to come out there. If you had to guess, D-Money, how many times do you think he's been to Miami?
I don't want to think about it. Plenty. I personally seen him like 3 or 4.
Texas just jumped in the game. Right. So obviously, he took a visit after the fact. I think they offered this year. Everything they did was this year. Kind of reminds me of thinking that we were going to get Baxter, right? And then he visits Texas, and whatever they're seeing when they go to Texas, right? We need to get a snapshot of it. Whatever they're showing them, whatever they are offering, we need to get a snapshot of it and do the same.
Oof, that hurts to hear, man. I know you, like you said, you're not just talking from the outside looking in. I mean, I'll be the first one to say I really don't interact aside from saying hi. You know, if the mom is there, dad is there, maybe talking to them. As far as the relationship, that's not my deal. That's you. You are in there. You're in the mix. Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about this particular topic because I've been taking the bullets out here earlier. You know, one thing that happens a lot is when a local kid, South Florida player, goes to a big school. The fans, obviously, they're upset. I'm upset. We're all upset. We want them to be Canes. But then, you know, it's one thing to take the frustration out on the coaches. It's their job to get these guys to come to Miami and to make a good enough place for them to want to come. That's the coach's job. So be mad at the coaches when they don't come. That's part of the deal. Right. I never understood being upset at the kid because the truth of the matter is the product that we've been showing these kids for 20 years, including, again, Mario's tenure and some of the things that have happened during that time hasn't been good enough. And they see it just like the fans see it. They're local. They're watching it. They're in the stadium. So right. I don't blame them for thinking the same things that a lot of our fans feel from a negative standpoint because they're seeing the product. How do you take it when a South Florida kid chooses to go to a different school instead of the University of Miami?
I mean, I was listening to you guys earlier, and y'all kind of explained it. That I mean, all these recruitments are different. They're all different. Miami can get into the fabric of the community and get into the fabric of the kids, and they can create something where the kids want to go, right? I think they're trying. I see the offers going out to the 12-year-olds and the 13-year-olds and the 10-year-olds, and I understand what's going on. I think they're trying, right? That connection to the community that I've always spoke about, right? I even sat down and talked to Mario about it. That connection isn't like there's no connection to the University of Miami and the community for them to feel like, hey man, if I don't go to Miami, they feel bad, right? Now, the Calvin Russell, that was tough on Calvin Russell. You know what I'm saying? His mom's Hall of Fame at Miami. His mom, so obviously she's Hall of Fame at Miami. She has a bunch of friends at Miami. Her cousin is Gordon, Richard Gordon, that played a cousin or a brother. See some kin of Richard Gordon that played at the University of Miami. He grew up a goddamn cane. You know what I'm saying? So if they wanted Calvin Russell there, they had to put the effort together. They could have got him, right? So for the fans, I would say, so you only could imagine what they didn't do, right, in order for it not to happen. How do I feel? I think at this point, I come from two different places, man. I have the Cane in me. I have the Cane fan. I have the media side, and then the community side. You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's became a business. There's a lot of money getting thrown around. There's a lot of, when money gets involved, things get tricky, games get played. I wanted Russell to be a Cane. I did. But the families have to do what's best for them. I don't take it personal. I don't take it personal because I know sometimes kids want to be Canes and sometimes there's no room. Jason Lopez wants to be a Cane and there may not be any room, right? Or it appears, or maybe they're going after bigger fish, right? And then you line them up and you set your priorities. So I know kids want to be Canes and they don't, sometimes there's no room. Luther Campbell tells these stories all the time about Devontae Freeman and you know what I'm saying? There's no room. So when they don't choose the Cane, sometimes I can't take it personal. That makes sense. I can't take it personal because I've seen it where Amari Cooper wanted to be a Cane, like some big time guys that wanted to be Canes and there was no room. Miami had a different board, yada, yada, yada. So I don't take it personal. Do I want them all here? Do I want Mario to put a fence around Dade and Broward or however y'all want to say it? Of course. Yes. And I think the way you do it is connecting to the community. Connecting to the community, being in the fabric of the community. I thought they were on to something. And when if I'm talking too much, tell me shut up, D-Money. I thought they was on to something. I thought they was on to something when they put the billboards up when Mario first got here. I thought they were on to something to getting entrenched in the fabric of the community and connecting with the right people. But I think that's it, man. But to listen to y'all talk about recruiting, bro, it's like it's like y'all talk. It's like the sky is falling, right? I think they're like number 10. What?
Yeah, 10 right now.
We're so spoiled, D-Dog. We are very spoiled.
Listen, I'll let me, because I've been going after the fans a little bit on some of this, but I'm gonna push back on that because look, 20 years we've been bad, 25 years, so we're hungry, man. We want to get it, we want to get there. So I see the impatience as far as like we gotta get there, man. We just gotta get over the hump. We've been bad for so long, you know, and disappointing for so long, and you get the best quarterback in the country, best quarterback. I mean, you've been around a little longer than me, still a young man, but you know, this is the best quarterback I've ever seen in Miami. So, you know, when you don't get it done with him, and then now the recruiting, which is you hope to be a pick-me-up, is kind of, you know, it's good, but it's not elite. I get the frustration on that, man. Me from a fan standpoint, but
yeah,
I just don't like the frustration being taken out on 17-year-old kids and their families. And then you hear the things that are said, a lot of it. It's like, if your kid is an architect, or let's say he's like an engineer or whatever, you're going to have a certain process to it. And you're not just going to be with the local school just because they're there. You got to have a reason to go there. And I think part of the problem is, you know, when you were coming up, when I was coming up, Miami was a cool place to be. Everybody, they were winning. They were dancing on everybody. They were going to the NFL. It was cool to want to be there. We haven't had that, aside from Cam Ward, in a while.
Yeah. That looked cool last year. That looked cool, and it felt good, even though it was a quickie, right? But I want y'all to remember how it felt walking out of Florida, how it felt walking out of Louisville, how it felt walking out of South Florida when it appears it was a close game, but it really was a blowout, right? That last year, that was cool. I want you guys to understand that feeling we got last year, they're recruiting against Ohio State, who did that 15 years in a row.
Exactly.
Go look for yourself. Go to your AI and type in Ohio State record the last 15 years. They probably average 10 wins.
Yep.
Yeah. So some of these recruiting battles that Miami win, to be honest with you, is actually like Mario got a 5-star and we won 5 games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So us recruiting against these teams that have won every year of these kids' life. If you have won for 15 years, Derek Cooper's probably 16 years old. That's what the 40-year-olds in the chat don't understand. And I hear you say it all the time, so I'm just here to back you. You know what I'm saying? That's what they don't understand.
They're not, you're around the kids. It's not like we're fans. So we're out here with our Athlon Sports and we're like, and we know that Texas in 2013, should have won whatever. And they won this, whatever it is. It's not like these kids are out here studying the game like fans. They got to work out. They got to play. They got to talk to girls. They got to go to school. They got a lot of stuff going on that's not following college football. So they're turning on the TV and they're seeing Texas in the playoff, Miami not in the playoff. I mean, that's AB right there. They're seeing that. It's different than a fan looking at it.
That's what the last 3 years Texas has been in the playoffs of 2.
At least 2 or 3. At least 2, yeah. Yeah, last 2 for sure.
So the people are saying, but look, Texas haven't won nothing. Texas ain't won shit. Right? Okay, you're right. That's why I said when me and Derek went to the basketball game, we sat in the car, he hadn't been to Texas. It's not like this is respect for Texas, right? He hadn't been there. My question to y'all was, what happened when he went there? What did he see?
I think Texas, one thing that I just kind of digging on this is they have a big need at running back for a team that's at a high level. And it's funny because they're actually right in front of us in the recruiting rankings. They're not exactly killing it recruiting this year. They're actually kind of, if you look at their class, actually not that good for what you expect for them. We have a higher average recruiting ranking. We're 1 spot behind them. The strength of their class, quite frankly, is Diabel, who I know well. You saw him yesterday, and then really no running back at all in the class. They've lost on a lot of running backs. One of them went to Alabama, Xavier Crowell. They're trying to get. Lost a couple other battles. So I know from Texas standpoint, I know that I'm sure they were looking at the depth chart and saying, "Hey, we're a premium program and we're missing a Lamborghini right here in the backfield."
Right. And now you're talking. So at that point you're talking about how could I explain this so everybody understand this? Something sometimes to you means more, and the value is more. Right? So I'm trying to find something to explain it so everybody can understand.
Yeah, everybody values different things differently in the process.
Right. So he may walk into Texas, and Texas, they may be sitting in their boardroom like, "Hey, bro, we're not doing too good this year. We finna throw the kitchen sink at him." And they always just money. See, I hear people keep saying, "Man, it's money. They're throwing bags of money." Man, you have some parents that walk in the room and get offended when you throw money at them first. They really have to evaluate these parents and what they really want. Who's the person that they need to talk to that's going to make the decision, and what matters to that person. It's not always money, but you just explained that Derek Cooper may matter more to Texas, so they may do something that Miami has to match. And Miami may be like, "Hey, whoa, what? What are we talking about?" But you can't go backwards in time, right? So you passed on a 5-star, right? You on in Russell, then you like, okay, Coop's in the bag, and then Derek Cooper sees whatever he sees at Texas, right? And Texas is like, "Oh, this is the market," and you're like, "Bro, Mario, is that the market? Like how is that the market?" And then now it's like, we didn't plan to do that.
Now, I'll say just from an information standpoint, I've heard Russell and Cooper a little different as far as like, I didn't know, I have not heard, maybe I'm not hearing everything. I have not heard that there was a situation where Texas went somewhere with Cooper and we're like, we can't do that. Now what I've heard is, you know how it is. You can always pay a huge premium on any one of these players and potentially make up ground just because you're going over and above. That I heard we have not done, but I've not heard that, at least with Cooper, that Texas went somewhere. And you got a direct line to the fam, so you'll hear better than me. But I've not heard that they went somewhere financially that we weren't able to go. That I've not heard yet.
Right. See, and when I say money, the best way I can explain it is in money. But I had a parent explain to me yesterday, it was in fuzzy. They went to a school, and the coach talked directly to their eyes, respected them, and they made them feel warm and fuzzy. So it could be that, or it could be they get there and they see a structure in Texas, a system that they've never seen before. The colleges communicate with the high schools, and it's like this big system that we're going to make you a part of this, and you're going to know that. It could be many things, right? But we know we've seen 2 running backs walk into Texas, and I talked to Baxter before they chose. It was some of the stories. It was some of the Ricky Williams stories. It was Ricky Williams contacting them. You know what I'm saying? It was things like that sold them. But you're right. It's not always necessarily money, but it's something that they're showing that are getting kids excited. When I saw him dressed in a Texas outfit, like a damn, like, I don't know, like a Texas fan, my first thought was, oh, he's coming to Miami. I told you this yesterday.
Yep.
Like, I've never seen a kid dressed like that before. That was my first thought. Like, oh, Derek Cooper's at OT7 and all Texas stuff. I put out the picture, it goes viral. And my first thought, I went and told my the members, oh yeah, he's coming to Miami. Because to me, that was too obvious.
We'll see, man. I mean, there's still time to flip them, but this is not where you want to be. We're going to talk about the Crib Classics. I want to get your evaluation hat on, because I know you're out there watching and you've seen a lot of football. You got a sense for who the players are. But before we do that, I want to make sure you get your plugs. Tell everybody. We got a ton of villains in the chat. We always do, actually. Even when you're not on, there's a ton of villains in the chat. But I want those who don't know where to find you, or maybe they've seen you on Instagram and they don't know exactly what you're doing with podcasts or whatever. Let people know what you're doing, what you're working on.
Yeah, so check it out. So on Instagram it's at Footballville. On Twitter is at Caneville. If you want the villains, if you want the shorts, it's all in the bios everywhere etched in. I'll put it in the chat here, you know what I'm saying, maybe after the thing, but all the links are in the bios. I put a lot of time into the villains, man. I chased numbers and views for a long time, and I know you have a model, bro, that like everybody comes for free, and it's great. You got to find your model. I chased views for a long time, went viral a lot of times, and I was like, man, you know what? I think we have something a little different, a little unique. I'm gonna put it behind in the membership, and the people who understand it, they come in, and it's like a fellowship in there, bro. Like those guys talk football, and we got 1-2 females in there, 1 Texas fan in there. She's always on the brink of getting kicked out of there, but
she might get kicked out here in a week if she gets excited.
But most of it's the villain membership, man, is where a lot of my time go. And we create a lot on Instagram and things of that nature. Y'all go follow us on Footballville everywhere. If you type Footballville in Google, everything that comes down is us. Like I said, it's maybe 900,000 followers across social media. And we would love to have you. We would love to have you, bro. We would love to have you. I'm sorry coming on here with you.
Remind them, too, it's not villains. It's not the bad guys. It's Footballville, Caneville villains.
Right. So real quick story. It was created from the word Ville. So we have Footballville, Caneville, Footballville, Florida, Footballville, Georgia. So when I created the membership, my first thought was to call them villains, and it was spelled VILLE''N, but I thought that looked goofy. So I was like, I'm going to spell it villain, but take the I out because the I makes it look goofy to me. I don't know, create my own word. So when people see villains, they think it's a bunch of us standing outside with shiesties on, man, breaking into people's cars. Bro, no, listen, it's some of the most sophisticated, calm conversations that you could have, like in our membership. Is none of that going on because I know nothing can last when it's like that. King and probably those boys are villains. And King's been a villain since day one. Shout out to King, man. He put a lot of work in. It's just a membership. We deliver information from a different fabric. If you were in there, you knew Calvin Russell probably wasn't coming. It just was a feel that we were getting that the family just didn't get a warm and fuzzy from Miami from the beginning, and it was confusing to them. And at the end, it got really, really, really tough for Calvin. You got your homeboy Malachi. You got coaches that believe in you, that's telling you, listen, man, you come be the face of the program. We're going to put everything around you. And you start making these relationships with a 16, 17-year-old kid who's still kind of in his emotional stages. And at that age, he believes what everybody's telling him. Right? And now, so when you don't choose Miami, I mean, even though Malachi was there with him in support on the stage with him, when you don't choose Miami, I mean, you're not going to play with your homeboy. When you don't choose LSU, you're not going to play with whoever up there that you made a relationship with. And sometimes it's tough for these kids, man. I just tell people to think, like, go look in the room at your 15-year-old, your 14-year-old. Go tell your 15-year-old in the room that, hey, listen, man, you about to get $30,000 a month, but either it's going to be here or you're going to live in Syracuse, New York, or you're going to live in Baton Rouge. Go tell your 15-year-old who has it all figured out that that's about to happen and see how y'all deal with it as a family.
Yeah, man, it's that's an interesting one. I could see why the appeal of being the man of Syracuse. If I'm playing Monday morning quarterback from the outside, you know, we'll see, because it's like if Fran Brown doesn't perform, you know, now that program, and he did everything he could possibly do the first year. I mean, he was coaching the year.
Right.
If you take a step back, now you're saying, okay, the program might be going down. But if you take a step forward, he might be up out of there going to the SEC. Now, does Calvin follow him to the SEC? It's an interesting decision because Syracuse is it's like an unusual spot, not just because of the weather and stuff you talked about, which obviously that's going to be a factor, but it's like, right. Where do they go? You know, they just lost their best receiver to the portal, and then they bring in a 5-star type high school receiver. It's a very interesting situation. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I always heard with Cooper, and I've said it on the show, with Russell, and I've said this on the show, I heard he's a really good kid. I heard he's a good worker, which, you know, he's raw, but I don't know if you dealt with him and his family. I've always heard the guy, his work ethic and his, you know, the makeup stuff, the character stuff is good with him.
He's a humble kid, and I'm gonna explain to you why. He grew up in the park playing for the Miami Garden Chiefs. And he was never really the star of the team. He was never really the star of the team. He was a baller, but he had a guy on his team that had a big brand, and he kind of followed him. And Coop played offense, played defense. He didn't become that household name to maybe the 10th grade in high school, right? 10th, maybe the 10th grade is when he popped off the screen. And that's funny. The guy that was the star is now back on Chaminar's team with him. So him and his family are kind of humble, right? They're not. It's not like they're walking around and they've been the man his whole life, and their expectations are high from people. No, I think they deal with the fame, and I think he's more of a humble guy. He's played in the background, right? So he's built from a different, like he came from a different thing. And it's the kid who we played with, man. Is I'll remember the name in a second, man. But he was a big brain. He was a running back, and Coop was kind of like second fiddle to him. He was a baller on defense, just wasn't a household name. So I think his fame came later. I think he appreciates it a lot, and he's very humble. You could tell he works hard. I mean, you saw him out there with his shirt off, bro.
Yeah. It's good. He's got work to do now. If I'm breaking it down, I'll say for your average 5-star player, just weight-wise, craft-wise, because he's been moving around. He plays 2 sports. Like, he's got work to do, probably more than the average player his age, but he's playing 2 sports. So there's room once he locks in, gets to college. We'll see how the 2-sport thing goes. He's got room to improve. And if he's willing to do the work, which it sounds like he is, that's going to be something that comes with it.
He's a good one to get. I think he's a Mario kid.
Because I know people in the comments or listening are going to be like, man, okay, what about the kids we did get, right? So we've given them, you happen to come on a pretty newsworthy day because I'm doing all this negative posting. I'm dealing with all this. So we're focused on that kind of negative topic. But you have seen all these guys that are committed to Miami locally, which it's interesting because just going over the local guys, I think the local players on the team are going to have a huge role, right? We're talking about Lyle, Mark Fletcher, JoJo Trader, Malachi Tony, right? Armando Blunt, Wesley Basaint, OJ Frederic, Xavier Lucas. So there's a lot of local guys that are going to have a big role on this team. But in the class, it's not as local. But I wanted to just get your thoughts on a couple guys that I know you've seen. I mean, it could be 27 guys. Just in terms of Miami commits that you've been able to see, whether they're from Florida or whether they're from South Florida.
Yesterday I got to see Doc. I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you finished?
Yeah. No, let's give us something on someone that we can get excited about.
Yesterday I got to see Miami New Orleans Dobson at 7-on-7 playing safety yesterday. He's a 27 kid. I keep hearing rumblings of 26. And I think that, to get off the subject a little bit, the reclass thing, I think you're going to hear a lot. I think that's something that's being presented to a lot of kids for numerous reasons. I think if you reclass them, you may get a chance to develop them or slow walk them, or unless they jump on the scene like Malachi, which was crazy. So I got to see Dobson yesterday, man. Nice built kid. I know his dad. He was out there at safety at New Orleans, moves really well. You could tell in pads. He looks physical and imposing. He looks physical and imposing in 7-on-7. Got a tip ball yesterday. He tipped the ball. Got a create his part. The teammate got a key interception. I like Dobson. Jalen Jones. I love Jalen Jones.
Yeah.
The MacArthur safety, man. Great personality. Kid can run. I mean, he plays for Raw. I think he plays for Raw out there.
Yep.
And I love Jalen Jones. Who are some of the local kids that we have? Give me some names, Money.
Yeah, those are 2 good ones for 27. We'll see on the reclass. Jalen Jones, he kind of reminds me of Cam Kitchens. Maybe a little faster than Cam. I'm not saying he's going to be, everything Cam was.
He's more imposing than Cam. He may be faster than Cam. All the stuff they say Cam didn't have, I mean, it seems like that don't matter. It seems like there's a football button that we're not rating, where some guys got a football button and it doesn't.
It's between the years, man. I mean, we talked about this on air, off air. This is one of my things that I just always harp on is like, we could talk about all this other stuff. And obviously you got to have the talent. I mean, this is not like you have to have the ability to play, but the IQ, when you see guys that make it and don't, when you see a Cam Ward, when you see a Cam Kitchens, when you see a Xavier Restrepo, I mean, these are the guys that have between the ears, and then that translates to on the field. And that, I would say the biggest example I can tell you right now, as far as the 25 team that's coming up right now, a guy I mean, Malachi Tony. I mean, how good Malachi Tony is not, Jeremiah Smith, who, by the way, also was really good mentally. But, Malachi Tony doesn't have that body, or that's, he's not like a 100-meter sprinter. But
right.
The kid, you've seen him for years. Just talking about him, so I want to focus on him because talking to people around the program and watching him in spring, I was able to see him in spring. It's not just that he's going to be a good player down the road. I'm seeing people think he's going to be a star kind of sooner than later around the University of Miami. And I think the mental part's huge with him. You know the kid. What can you tell fans about Malachi Tony?
Malachi Tony, I've covered him since he was maybe 8, 7, 8, 9. You could see how special he was at 8. I remember watching him win this big game in the rain at quarterback. He was like 8 when they would just say hike and run around the corner. Played quarterback his whole entire life. For the people who don't know the Malachi Tony story, played quarterback his whole entire life. He was an undersized quarterback with immense talent. His dad is De La, Antonio Brown, the Miami Central legend, went to West Virginia, went to NFL for a short period of time. But it's just a legend in the community, and people tell the folk stories. Oh, he jumped over a Metro bus. I remember I was there the time he outran a Suburban. But one thing he did do was beat Devin Hester in a race, and that is the true story. So now, that's his dad. He's a kid that doesn't talk a lot. It's all in his head. Now, I'm going to say, so when Diabel went down at American Heritage, right? We're sitting in the media room at the University of Miami at the game, me and Larry Bluestein. And Larry Bluestein looks at me and says, man, Diabel is hurt. American Heritage may be in trouble. I looked at Larry because they had Norland next. Norland had already beat them. I looked at Larry and I said, Larry, American Heritage is about to play a joke on Florida's football and win state championship. Because I knew this kid was going to get to play quarterback one more time, and that he was so dynamic when it comes to either throwing or running and the way he saw the game. As a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, he was able to see the game. He just chose to play wide receiver because he knew he would never get a shot at quarterback in college. When he hit spring football and he came to Miami, the first time I laid eyes on him was the most impressive I've seen him play, which was crazy because it's almost as if he raised his talent to the level that okay, now y'all are pushing me. Okay, I'm going to show you where I'm supposed to be at. This spring was the most impressive I've ever saw him.
It's like, Restrepo was just an All-America, so there are going to be comparisons to Restrepo. I think Tony's probably more athletic than Restrepo, but one thing with Restrepo was every time you saw Restrepo, that was the best version of Restrepo because the guy, he did not do anything except try to get better at playing football. And that's just one thing I hear about Tony is that when you talk about the film, he's watching all the film. We talk about off the field. He's not out there partying and doing this and things that are going to hurt him on the football field. He is very much locked in on what he's doing from a football standpoint. I don't even know if he's as fast as his dad. I don't know if he has that elite speed that his dad did, but just the whole package and how he's able to just constantly work on his craft. And then, like you said, see the field. I was there when he played Darion Coleman in the state championship game. That was at FIU in the Pitbull Stadium. He was like 17, 18 or something like that at one point. And it wasn't like he was running around playing backyard football. He was like Cam Ward. He was throwing passes from the pocket. He was, if he moved, he was moving the throw, and he knew what he was doing. It wasn't like he was out there just out athleting guys. He was out there playing QB. Right.
He's a dynamic football player, and I'm surprised. There's a lot of football in him. He has big brothers that were really good at football, so there's a lot of football in him. Miami has to use him at quarterback sometimes to do some things, some gadget thing. They have to. He's a dynamic. He's a dynamic player. Well, let me touch one thing, because I see in the comments people are saying, "Hey, explain to people why y'all hating on Teddy Bridgewater." Right? Like what's going on at Miami Northwestern, real fast. If you were to Google Footballville Teddy Bridgewater, I think what you would see was, because I've covered Teddy Bridgewater since he was in youth football. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I created a Teddy Bridgewater day maybe 3 years ago when he was at the Dolphins and everybody was ragging on him. Go on Facebook, search it. Footballville Teddy Bridgewater. I said today will be Teddy Bridgewater Day. We're going to celebrate Teddy Bridgewater every day because I saw a young black man coming back to the community. He stayed in the fabric of the community. He wanted to give back. this was before he came to Northwestern. This is when he was at the Dolphins. Then he left the NFL to come back to his alma mater to try to give Dade County football that life again, right? And the post that you see from us with the cannibals and things of that nature, because what's happening at that place is coming from within. They're eating their own. Like Max won 3 championships. He's out of there. Teddy Bridgewater wins the state championship. All of a sudden, there's a problem. So the post that you guys see is how I felt when I saw, oh, Teddy Bridgewater's under investigation. It's disgusting. Right? It's disgusting because I know what's going on in the back end. And I think some of it's coming out now. So I care. Teddy Bridgewater knows I love him to death. I know him since he was at Bunch Park. He saw everything I've ever posted about him from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's all out there. I don't delete the stuff. But there's something that needs to be done with what's going on there, because how do you win a state championship and still the people in the building isn't happy? Right?
That's a weird one, man. I mean, I hate to see us. I don't want the school to not be able to play in playoff games. I saw that happen in Orlando when the FHSA got on one of these schools, Devin Jackson School. That would be to me. I mean, these kids, a lot of them are not going to play college. A lot of them will, but a lot of them won't. And even the ones that do, you only go to high school once. So beyond anything else, I hope they don't have to miss playoffs or anything crazy like that, because, that's not fair, in my opinion, to the kids that are there. Teddy, man, I remember I was at the game. It was a spring game. They were playing North Miami Beach. This was like right when Shannon started to be the head coach. They had a quarterback. I don't know if it was Wayne Times, if I'm saying the name right, though. They had another quarterback, and Teddy came in like the fourth quarter of the second half.
You're right. It was Wayne Times.
Yeah, and then he came in at the end of the game, the spring game. He was like, man, he's the best player out there immediately. And then you kind of saw the quarterback they had started playing more receiver, and Teddy started being the
he would switch back and forth.
So he's been the man for a while. And like you said, brought back Northwestern, which for those who remember Northwestern from the Jacory days, that's not how it's been the last decade. It's really been Miami Central just kind of dominating. So this was a new thing. But you know how it is, man. It's like when someone does something good and gets attention, He
was about to go on a run. I mean, and I don't know how it's going to end. He has a lot of power in the community. You saw Nick Lanier mom come out and say, "Hey, listen, if Teddy go, we go." And that may end well, man. But to anybody, I mean, shout out to Teddy, man. And I've loved him since he was a kid. And I thought he was the right person for Miami Northwestern. Like, my question is, how do we get here?
I wonder, if you're looking at it from the outside, this guy has been a pro quarterback. He was a great college player, and he's a pro quarterback, first round pick, winning games. And, he's feeling good about himself. He goes to Northwestern. He does exactly what he said he's going to do from a coaching standpoint. He goes up to play in a playoff game, like on the side. He's like, let me just go up to, Detroit Lions and play in a playoff game. And he played in the game, one snap or whatever it was, but he went from the coaching a championship team to go and play in a playoff game for the Detroit Lions and then coming back down. So I wonder if he's just kind of like, he's not thinking about everybody else because he's so locked in on what he's doing and feeling good about his success that he's doing things like posting on social media and like no one's coming after him.
No, because you're right. Who wouldn't want that story around their program? Unless it's other people that's in power. Because that story brings a lot of leverage, right? Yeah, so who wouldn't want that story? The NFL, it was the first time I saw the NFL following a high school team. They would collab with Northwestern Post, and it was like, wow, what's going on here? Who wouldn't want that story around their program?
And I wonder if he's just not as attuned to some of the politics of it, because like I said, he's probably feeling himself. And I don't say that in a negative way. I just mean like when you have a success in everything you're doing for a long time, you're not exactly paranoid about certain things that maybe someone else might be. So he's out there on social media, just not caring, posting whatever he's thinking. And that maybe makes him more of a target, because somebody else who's has not had that success might be a little more careful and be like, hey man, people
Right.
might get, so like, I wonder if he's just kind of like detached from the politics a little bit, because he's,
you can tell he is. You can tell he's a little raw. You can tell he is kind of detached. You can tell he maybe should have asked a few questions before he did some things, unless that's how he intended it to go. My question is this though, like Miami Northwestern has the biggest alumni in Dade County, Broward County, maybe in Florida, period. They probably rival any school you could find in the nation with support.
Oscar winners, Super Bowl winners,
rappers. They probably had 20,000 people at a West Fest the other day. Teddy Bridgewater, a week later, goes online and says he needs help. He's been paying for a lot of stuff. He needs donations, right? And for the people in the comment section who didn't understand this, I had to break this down to my membership the other day. It's kind of like your daughter getting ready for the prom, right? Your daughter getting ready for the prom, and she goes online and say, can people donate to my prom fund? Because and you're sitting in the room reading this like, why didn't she ask me? Like, what is that? And that's right. So two questions. That's probably what the administration was thinking, like, oh, he needs money. Or he was fed up. This is how I saw it. He was fed up with what was going on. He wasn't getting the support. And when he made that post, he drew a line. And when he made that post, we were live in our Discord, and I told him, "It's war. This is war." Like when he just drew a line, and it's war. And the next day, the fake Teddy Bridgewater under investigation stories came out.
By the way, Peony Boys, I see you in the comments. Appreciate your support. We're going to get to that question here in a second. I want to get Street's thoughts on.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in 1 second. But just on Teddy, I know before this, there was a situation where I guess he wanted youth players on the sideline because Carroll City was doing it. And then Northwestern, talking about the administration, put out a statement saying, like, can't do that. It's against the rules. So I know our coach is saying we want guys on the sideline, we want young players on the sideline, but that's a violation. So you can't do it. That was kind of the first, at least from my perspective, the first time it's like, wait a minute, these guys are not on the same page.
You pay attention, D. It was the first inkling of, because I've had my run-ins with Miami Northwestern. I've had my run-ins like years ago. They thought I was making hundreds of $1,000s off the logo. They called me in, and I was kind of the reason why they started attacking the media. They didn't know what they were looking at. You know what I'm saying? I just could see the future, and they couldn't. That was the first sign, because that's the conversation where you can have in the hallway, right, with your administration. And you're like, how did it become public? Teddy said something public, and then Sports Illustrated wrote a report public, and you're like, oh, so they're beyond talking to each other. This is happening in the public eye. That was the first inkling, of, I call it cannibalism, where I felt like his own was kind of not with him. And it's a power thing. You see it. Ohio State, Ryan Day is about to be fired. He averaged 10 wins a game. Oh, but he can't beat Michigan, right? So who's saying that, right? Like who has the power to get him gone because he can't beat Michigan? So it happens, right? There's the politics side of coaching, and then there's the coaching side.
Coaching side could be going better. I mean, you just want states, man. It's like, I know there's Northwestern alumni that were hurting watching Central do it, because it was like, I mean, it wasn't like a 2-year stretch. I mean, how long would you say was Central just kind of dominating that rivalry? I mean, it felt like close to a decade. That kind of pissed some people off. I would have thought, Teddy would have been a hero for everything he was doing.
Yeah, and dog, do you remember why Central came to power? Because of the rape charges and Antoine Easterly.
I was going to get to that, because I wonder how much of that is kind of playing in, where if you Google Northwestern now, that will come up, which for those of you who don't know, and they got to make a movie about this one day. Basically, there was a situation with Antoine Easterling at the school, alleged sexual improprieties, and the school was who knew, who didn't know. It became a huge scandal. You almost lost a season, which ultimately ended up being a national championship season for Ja'Cory Harris, Sean Spence, and those guys. Those guys were incredible. They basically coached themselves for a while and won the national championship. I mean, incredible story. But I wonder if Northwestern's thinking like, man, when you Google us, that kind of thing comes out, and we don't like that.
Right. And I saw somebody talking about the Northwestern Year of the Bull, the movie where they got tricked by the film company. It was supposed to be about the Soul Bowl, and they turned it into, oh man, these guys are pretty rough in practice. But the Easterling thing was, you know what I'm saying, literally got a lot of people at Northwestern fired, basketball coaches, football coaches, and those coaches kind of band together, right? And they watched the team they create, which was the Ja'Cory Harris national championship team, win a championship. And then they went to Central. And that's when Central, and I want y'all to really think about what we're saying up here. That's when Central took you know what I'm saying? That's when Central took it, and they became the lead and the bully in the situation. Because of Northwestern, I'm not going to say they made a mistake, right? It was a little boy who obviously did something with a little girl. Years later, I mean, it wasn't. They weren't saying it was forced rape. They're saying he was older than her, or she was too young. You know what I'm saying? It was kids being kids, whatever. I'm not getting all that. It's kind of crazy, but that got a lot of people fired at Northwestern, and Northwestern was the reason why Central came to power. Central was never bad, right? But they just really couldn't get over the Northwestern hump. Then Central went on a run. Teddy Bridgewater comes back, the savior from Northwestern, played in the NFL. A story you couldn't conjure up that story. If you didn't write a fairy tale story, right? He says, "I'm going to the NFL, but I'm going to come back to 71st Street and coach the kids." And still, he's not protected by people around him.
It should have been like Jim Harbaugh, really. He was like a faster version of Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh did that, but to get over the hump with Ohio State, but it took him, however many years. This was like a Jim Harbaugh that the first year you're beating Ohio State and winning the championship. I mean, it couldn't have been better.
Yeah, right. So it's a problem. Like when they fired Max, I was kind of confused. Max won 3 state titles or something like that. There's coaches in Florida, bro, that brag about getting to the 3rd round of the playoffs. They have never sniffed a state title game. You feel me? Like there's coaches in Florida, when I travel around Florida, they're like, yeah, man, we run the city. Oh, so y'all didn't go to state? No, man, we went to the 2nd round, got knocked out by Columbus. We went to the 2nd round, got knocked But they're happy with it, you know what I'm saying? And to win if they would ever win a state championship, they probably get a statue in their city. We got guys here that have won 10. Max won 3, got fired. AJ won 10, got relieved of his duties. So something's not jiving, right? You know what I'm saying? Something's not jiving right in the fabric of what's going on in the city, man. Is not.
Look, I've heard on the baseball side too, because obviously with South Florida, there's really all of basketball starting to come on real strong, but really it's always been 2 sides of the coin with the football and the baseball. I know baseball, the public schools are getting smoked by the private schools, and they feel they're not getting a lot of support just in general. So you see it on baseball as well, where public schools may be having to deal with certain things that the private schools don't. And I'd hate to see Miami go down that road. You have Columbus. I don't know if we had the private schools to take over like Broward did, but you'd hate to see the public schools fall off. Because that's one thing about Miami that was always unique, is our public schools really ran the show in football, which is not like that everywhere else.
Tradition, the tradition was so strong. I always thought it was pretty amazing. The tradition was so strong and the pipelines were so strong. Even though the coaches wasn't getting paid, the football fields are all dirt, and they're not getting the support. the tradition was so strong that they just kept the pipeline just stayed that way, and kids kept going to Dade County schools. Now they're changing the zoning. They're changing, you know what I'm saying? The neighborhoods look different. Homestead has came to power. And because I think a lot of families have been sent down there. It's not like taboo. Like they're not getting off a boat anywhere down there. Like a lot of families have been sent down there because neighborhoods are different. And now also Homestead is pretty good. But it's going to be tough these next 5 years, especially if things like this are happening, bro. Like, come on. Like, I don't know how this one's going to end, but losing Teddy would be a huge blow to Northwestern.
100% for South Florida football, man. But you hit a point, and I know you've been generous with your time, and I want to get your plugs in one more time, but you dropped a jewel there that I want to focus on, which is that Homestead might be the future, because I know they're tearing down those farms and building a lot of housing, and those kids it's harder for them to go to, Chaminade or American Heritage than somebody from, Miami Gardens or whatever, Carroll City. Like, you're right up there. So I could see Homestead kind of continuing that rise.
Homestead and why not Edison? Because they're building, like, it's weird. They're building up when you go east of Edison, right? Like, they're not touching that, but they're building up behind Edison. And I think the guy that runs Edison, Luther Campbell, is just a forward thinker. And he's in politics, and he understands. He's been saying the zoning was happening 5 years ago. Like, he's been trying to get screaming, like, hey, if y'all let them do this, it's going to look different. Things are going to be different. So I think Dade County. I think Dade County in the next 5 years could be interesting. How the power can shift.
100%. Before we let you go and get your last plugs in, I wanted to get to this question from Peony Boys. He's been waiting. I appreciate the support. He's asking, are we looking at Jabari Brady? He looked good yesterday at 7-on-7. I got to say, Daryl, well, I've been calling you Street this whole time. Daryl Streeter, Footballville. That's his name. That's what they call him at the bank. Daryl Streeter. I know you're a big finance guy when you're not doing, working all this football stuff.
Right.
Jabari Brady. I've watched him. I know you've watched him for a long time. He's always had kind of hype behind him. To me, the hype was always a little ahead of where I saw him, or at least he looked when I saw him. I got to say, yesterday when I saw him, he looked better than I've ever seen him personally, just from a size standpoint, bigger, more mature. Yeah. Do you think he might be making a little bit of a move?
It's weird, man. Jabari Brady was a 5-star. I thought when he committed to Missouri, he was a 3-star. And I don't know if I had ever seen that before. He's 6'2", 6'3", physically imposing. How much do you think he weighs? 210?
Yeah, he looked big from what I saw.
No, dog. Physically, he's a physical specimen. He doesn't look like your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a physical specimen. He has all the tools. Very quiet kid. Like, very quiet kid, very reserved kid. I think physically he has it. I think some people just question his desire, like his desire to get out there and mix it up. And I think that's where that came from. He's going to Missouri, which I think is great for him, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, the recruitment is two things. It's what you put on Instagram and everybody says, yay. And then it's when you walk in the locker room, your opportunity. And I don't think kids think about opportunity enough. They think about brands and logos.
Yeah, you look at Jaden Higgins, right, who went to Iowa State. Kid from, I want to say he's from Westminster down here, Miami basketball player, late bloomer to the max.
Oh, man, that is a wow story.
Where was he ranked as far as the receivers locally and where he is ended? Yeah.
He's like a 2-star. And he had to be a tall kid. I remember being at the bowl game and looking at their roster and studying their roster, and I was like, he's a rated first rounder, and he's from Westminster. And it throwed me, like, you know what I'm saying? But opportunity, right? opportunity, the kid has his head locked on right, he gets down, he works hard, and you can get better in 3 years. I mean, the bottom line, you can improve in 3 years. You can turn into a different guy if you're locked in.
Yeah, and you're focused on one sport, right? I mean, it's one thing when you're playing two sports, you can't, it's not that you're not a hard worker, is that you got to work on two things at once. When you're working on one thing instead of two things, you're doubling your progress, especially when you have college coaching around you and everything else. Right. So,
listen, before we get out of here, man, let's not get out of here on a somber note, man. God.
Yeah, let's go. Get us up.
Listen. Carson Beck. I don't know if y'all ever seen the interview with Footballville and Carson Beck. I interviewed him right before he took the starting job at Georgia. I spent a little time with him. I'm cool with Carson Beck. If I see him, we chop it up. He dap me up.
I'll pull it up right now. I'm not going to get a copyright hit on it, right? I'm not going to have some like Jeezy song or something in the background that'll get me a copyright hit.
No. I think you could. And some of it's on Twitter too, but it's on YouTube.
Yeah, pulling up for you right now.
I interviewed him. Carson Beck is a football guy. Like, he knows the game, right? He comes to Miami. Think about this. Carson Beck arrives at Miami more polished, more experienced than Cam Ward. Chat's about to go crazy over there. Watch the chat, D-Money. Chat about to go crazy. Think about what I'm saying. Carson Beck has experienced more in college football than Cam Ward did. Yeah. Cam Ward was at the Incarnate Word, and he was at Washington State. They never won anything. He just was a talent that, like you say, D-Money, we may not see walk back through here in 10 years. But when it comes to experience, Carson Beck may be the best quarterback in college football. For everybody who's down on recruiting and think the sky's falling, we may have the best quarterback in college football at our school again.
You talk about experience. I mean, it's not just playing games, which is huge. It's also, you're going to Notre Dame, or Notre Dame's coming here, but you're going to that big stadium. It's going to be full Hard Rock, Labor Day, everybody's been watching. He's been in giant stadiums as the focus. It's not like he's in the background. When he was starting quarterback, he had all the attention. He had a lot of hype. He had the girl. He had all that stuff. So it's not like the expectations, the crowd, the competition, any of that stuff's going to be you. Or with Cam, he was kind of like, the Florida game was almost like, hey, here I am. As opposed to Beck, we already know who he is. So there's a different level of that kind of experience too.
I want you guys to come on. All these Beck haters, close your eyes. You watch Carson Beck at Alabama kind of start off rocky, get down, and throw them back in the game. You watch Carson Beck down at Georgia Tech, rivalry game, gritty game, fight back, and put those guys back in the game. This guy is coming here to be our quarterback. So that experience, no, you can't buy that experience. Now we're getting him a year later. That guy's coming here to be our quarterback. That guy has watched 2 national championship teams from start to finish win it all. Oh, but he didn't play in the game. You think you don't have to put the chin strap on and play in the game in order to be a part of what a national championship team looks like, what it feels like, what we did in week 3 of the playoffs, what we did the night before the national championship. He has experienced all of that.
Yeah.
How many people on our team has experienced that, D?
No, they don't know what it looks like.
How many coaches?
Yeah, that's true too. It's and also just he's old, man. I mean, I look at last year's draft, because of the COVID year, right. You had, from what I could see, the most experienced quarterbacks in the history of college football the last couple of years. You had Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. One of them is like the all-time leader in starts, maybe 1 and 2, because they had the COVID year. They started as true freshmen. Then they had the COVID year, which didn't count against them. So you can't start more games than they did because they started early and then they had the full run with the extra year. Beck, another one, he's like 23. Cam Ward was like that as well. I think Cam Ward started 2 years at Incarnate Word, 2 years at Washington State, then the 1 year in Miami. I mean, you can't do that without COVID. So that level of experience, those are the guys. Jackson Dart, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. I mean, those are the guys that are getting it done, is the older dudes. It's not – how different were you when you were 17, 18 to when you were 23, just in your own life? It's like night and day.
Can you hear me? You still hear my mic? Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're coming clear.
Bo Nix, 5-year quarterback, right? Bo Nix.
Yep.
I want y'all to understand this, and this should make y'all happy this Sunday. This should make it. Do y'all remember when Bo Nix sucked at Auburn?
They hated him.
Do y'all remember when Bo Nix was subpar? He sucked 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions at Auburn. Bo Nix stayed in college football long enough to throw 45 touchdowns at Oregon and 4,500 yards, bro. 3 interceptions. That's the experience.
Yep.
You just said it. That's experience. That's saying the same thing over and over again, and it all comes together.
He had the answers to the test.
Carson Beck has always been better. Carson Beck has always been better than Bo Nix. He's never had one of these sucky. Right. So D, you're right, bro. That's all it is, experience. They stay in college football long enough to become pros.
Jaden Daniels, who we saw in the pros and was one of the best players we ever seen at his age. I mean, could not be better in the pros. I know when he left Arizona State, they cleared out his locker. Like, they were like, get out. Like, we don't want you here. So, like, I hear people say, oh, there were some people that were more friends with Gunnar Stockton and wanted Gunnar Stockton. Jaden Daniels got it a million times worse, and I don't think anybody, is worried about him and his ability to lead a team after what you saw last year with the Commanders. So I'm not saying he's those guys, but those are the people you would look to as comparables based on their situation.
Neither one of those guys had the experience that Carson Beck had going into his 5th year. And you can hang me up on that one. So if you're saying, we're saying that we don't know if Carson Beck is Bo Nix or Jay Daniels, right? Well, neither one of them going through that 5th year had the experience that Carson Beck has.
You're right, man. You're right. I like how you ended it with a little sugar here. But before we get to the plugs, Peony Boys, question about the quarterback from True North, Zach Katz, I believe he's referring to. Looked good yesterday. Is Miami going to recruit him? Are you going to the second day of the Crib Classic? I think I got family duties today. And I'll be doing some baseball stuff with my buddy Adrian Lorenzo, who's a former MLB exec. We watching the draft. You can check that out, El Big League Show. So I got to work double today on Sunday. Plus I got to go to church, man. We're going long, but I got you on. So we got to get as much street as we can. The people have been asking every time you come on, people text me that people know you are fired up, and the people that don't know you are texting me like, man, who is this dude? Where can we find him? So always awesome to have you on, man. Real quick, we'll get to the plugs. Zach Katz, I think size might be the thing with him. Just physically. Last time I saw him, he's a good player. He looked maybe more like a mid-major type, just from a size standpoint. But guys get growth spurts. This guy's been a good player for a while. What do you think about Zach Katz? I know you've seen him.
Zach Katz, how tall do they have Zach Katz at? He had a good day yesterday. He's moved around a lot with the Chaminade. He's been around a lot. They got him at 6'1". You think that's the iffy? He has a lot of fire. Shout out to my boy Bird, man. Bird the villain.
He's always been there, man. We love Birdstone, man. This guy stays supporting everybody.
I think it's 3 of them. Zach Katz was on fire yesterday. Zach Katz was one of these kids that came out of high school, youth football, a star. Like the name was his name was big when he was like 12, 13. He looked good yesterday. He caught my eye. He's grown. He's grown to be 6'1" because he was smaller than that. A lot of fire in him, bro. I saw when they beat Central, man. He jumped in the Central boys' face. He was ready to fight. I was like, what's going on out here? Like, you know what I'm saying? He was ready to thump. A lot of fire in him, man. But you're right. At 6'1", I'm not sure where he may land. They have him as a 3-star. They say he got Louisville, Ole Miss. It says he has a Miami offer, but Arkansas. I don't think Miami's looking at him. I think he may land somewhere lower D1. I don't know. He may end up. He could end up at Arkansas or something like that. I mean, the way transfer portal works now, a lot of these schools get their quarterbacks taken, and yeah, you have to pull them from other places, and it just trickles on down.
So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Kevin Dennis saying we need Street on more often. He's got an open invitation. We're on every morning Street. So anytime, if you're up in the morning bored, reading your Wall Street Journal, checking your stocks, doing what you do while you're drinking your coffee, you know what I mean? Send me a text. We always love to have you on. Anytime you don't need me on. You got Carson Beck. You got some pretty big names. You don't need me. But anytime you got
I'm not coming anymore. Y'all on every morning. Every morning you make that commitment, bro.
Listen, commitment, man. I mean, listen, you know how it is. You work a real job. I've worked a real job for a while, continue to do so. So this is the fun part, man. I can do this all day. You can turn the camera off, man. We'd be talking the same way. So,
right.
That's what I love about it. So, but anyways, appreciate you. Tell them about the Discord. Tell them about the social. Tell them about everything.
We got a Discord. I think it's maybe over close to 300 people in there now. You come in, you can be an arc villain or a rogue villain. We give out inside information. We got X in there. We hit the amazing recruiting stuff that he does, man. Everybody gives information to X, man. He gets information from everywhere. And those guys are talking about Canes all day long. I mean, they're talking about Canes. It's kind of like a brotherhood. We get in the voice chat and we have conversations. We have special guests coming there. Luther Campbell comes in there and talk. You get a different side of them in there because there's not a bunch of haters in there talking trash to him. So he tells some of those stories. He tells stories about some of the music, and then it's a calmer Luther Campbell you get in there. We get other guys coming in there. But I think Najee Davenport is a villain. I don't know if Philip Buchanan is a villain. No, Philip's not a villain yet. Philip's behind like Darkwing Duck or something. He hides out. But no, bro, if you want to become a villain, you go to our Twitter. In the top of the Twitter, in the bio, in the Caneville bio, anywhere, you just click the link. Is right there. You become a villain. And we appreciate to have you, man. All those guys are villains, man. Nobody who's I ever invited in there, bro, ever left. It's a good place. It's Canes talking everywhere. We got a Cam Wardville section where everything Cam Ward has done at the Tennessee Titans is there. Everything, every post, anything Cam Ward is in there. And with the wealth of content that I have and everything Cam Ward did this season, we kind of recorded it. And so it's just a unique place to be when it comes to content. I have videos of Malachi when he was 10. We pull them out sometimes and talk about them. So just a unique place to be, bro.
Well, listen, we love having you on. People get to see just kind of the depth of knowledge and relationships that you have. So we got over 2,500 on right now, man. So the numbers are popping. Once they hear, Street is on.
You went to 2,500? Oh boy!
That's what happens when you bring out the big guns, man. That's what happens. So hey, appreciate you, man. Again, like I said, you got an open invitation. Anything you need from me, you got it, man. These are fun ones for me because I just sit back. I'm used to having to talk all the time, so I like to sit back and kind of learn and hear things I don't know about, and relationships I don't have, and just kind of absorb. And you've been around too. I always talk about how old I am. You've been around, so you've seen all the ups and downs. You don't get too high or too low. You've been there. You've seen right. How it goes up, how it goes down, it plays out sometimes.
Listen, man, D-Money is very humble, right? Don't let D-Money humble y'all to death, bro. Like when I first started Footballville, D-Money was like the insider of our whole website. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know who he was. He just was a screen name, right? And they used to be like, D-Money said this, D-Money said that. You know what I'm saying? So don't let him humble you to death, though. He's been around a while. He's seen a lot. And I just appreciate how you care about the kids, because that's kind of how Footballville was created, right? It's not a thing that's all business and all strict, and it's about the business and the bottom line. It was kind of created from the fabric of supporting the kids, right? And I hear you all the time backing the kids, like, hey man, why would you blame a 16-year-old? Like trying to make a decision that's going to alter the rest of his life, and you're acting like it's easy for him to do.
Yeah, we got our own kids that are not necessarily going. high D1 getting $1 million out of college, but and that's without money on the line. You're still going to, hey, we're going on a campus visit here. We're going on a campus visit there. I'm going to pull up their stats. I'm going to see what they're doing as far as your major and how that goes. I mean, it's not like we just pull up the brochure and we're like, hey, you're going to Miami or you're going to whatever, my favorite school. It's a process, man. And we can't treat these kids different than our own, especially when they got $1 million on the line. It's even worse for them. So I think sometimes that perspective is we treat these kids different than our own kids as far as in our heads, and they're kids, man. They got futures, they got decisions, they got families. Take a step back sometimes. You coaches, they're getting paid millions of dollars. Go ahead and yell at them, man. Get frustrated.
Yeah, coach, exactly, dog. Before we get out of here, one thing I used to tell people to snap them back to life. Remember when D'Onofrio was here, right? And we thought the defense was bad, right? When they'd be like, man, why these kids keep choosing other places, man? They need to come to Miami, make Miami great again, right? The fan in them talking. Yeah. And I'd be like, and I say, so KJ, you got a 16-year-old boy, right? One day he may have offers. If your 16-year-old boy is a 4-star, 5-star, would you let him go play for D'Onofrio? And instantly they become smart again because now it's their child, right? And that's how emotions and work with fandom and stuff. Like instantly they start thinking. Some people will still say, yeah, but some people are like, I don't know if I want my son playing for the night. You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's two sides of the same coin. But right now, we got the good team. We got Carson Beck getting ready to play. I like the coaching we got in place. Now it's about making Miami the smart choice for everybody. Let's make Miami the smart choice and the emotional choice. That'd be pretty fun as a fan. So we'll see, man. Appreciate you. Like I said, open invitation. You've been very generous with your time. And everybody knows where to find them. And we're on, man. Just pop in.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Take care. Have a good Sunday.
Villain.
All right. Always good, man. Talking to Daryl Streeter. Just fun to listen for a while. I talk too much, so it's fun to listen for a while. And he's got so much knowledge on just the kids, the families, the history of some of this stuff, and on the Canes as well, man. So always good talking to Street. Shout out to Footballville. Shout out to the Miami Hurricane team store. You saw him wearing the Miami hat. You got to get your hat game right. Got to get your wardrobe right for the summer as we head into fall. MiamiHTS.com, the Miami Hurricane team store located right across the street from the University of Miami. Put promo code INSIGHT20, get 20% off your first item. They're on the MiamiHTS.com, Miami Hurricane team store. And this is school, man. This is directly piped in to the athletic department. They are one and the same pretty much. So you want to support the program, get the official stuff, Miami Hurricane team store, MiamiHTS.com. Appreciate everybody in the comments. Appreciate everybody that has been watching. We got almost over 2,500 on right now. So like and subscribe. I've not been hitting the like and subscribe because we've been kind of complaining a lot about things that are happening in recruiting. But, man, like and subscribe to the show. If you're new to the show, welcome. And check us out, man. We're on every single day. Sunday, Saturday, weekdays, man, we're rolling. So, man, check us out. Like and subscribe. It's free. And appreciate everybody's support. Canes Cat asking, what time's El Big League show today? We're live streaming the first round of the draft, man. So if you're an MLB fan, maybe you don't know as much about the draft because it's not like the NFL or NBA where you kind of know a lot of the players already. Tune into El Big League show. Just write YouTube El Big League show. We are live streaming the MLB draft, which starts right when the draft starts, which I believe I think we're going live at 6 for the draft live that first round. So check us out. And we'll follow on, man. My partner, Adrian Lorenzo, he's a former MLB exec, 2-time World Series champ. He's been in these rooms. He can give you perspective that no one else can. So that'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully not too many Canes get picked. I know we got some guys kind of on the border. So hopefully draft day is good for the Canes. And, be a lot of fun to watch. But anyways, 2,600 on KT, my man. LSU pitcher, Holiday son, first pick. Great question. I think Cade Anderson, the LSU left-hander, the Nationals just fired their GM. They're trying to get things going. They got a young core that I think is ready to win now, and they're not winning. So you get a guy like Cade Anderson. He'll be there in the majors maybe as early as next year, just following the timeline of some of the guys last year. You're seeing the issue with the MLB draft is always guys get drafted, and then you wait 3 years. So it's not as fun to watch. Now you're seeing those guys get drafted, and the next year, boom, they're in the big leagues. A lot of guys last year, Chase Burns, pitcher from Wake Forest, Christian Moore from Tennessee, Nick Kurtz from Wake Forest, Cam Smith from Florida State. A lot of these guys are going straight to the pros after a couple, just a few months in the minors. So I think Washington wants a fast track. They'll get Kate Anderson, but we don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Paul Skeens, another good one. KT, man, check out the Big League Show, man. I'd love to have you out there. But anyways, appreciate everybody joining us. 2,600 plus on right now. Like and subscribe. See you tomorrow. Go Canes.